A first look at Madonna's nude photos only on Entertainment Tonight.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel.
I'm Terry Bradshaw.
You do that so well.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to week number 5 here on the NFL Today. With half an hour to go before kickoff in our early games, here's a look at who's warming up right now. In Minneapolis, where the Vikings host the Bears, Rich Gannon is coming off a career game. Last Sunday, with a hairline fracture in his throwing hand, Gannon completed 25 of 32 passes with 4 touchdowns. And today, Gannon goes against a Chicago defense that's given up the most points in the NFL this year. Down in Atlanta, the Falcons, who have dropped 3 straight, hope Chris Miller can get them back on the winning track against Green Bay. The Pack hasn't won in Atlanta in a decade. And let's head right out to the Pontiac Silverdome, where the Saints will take on the Lions. Detroit's starting quarterback is a question mark. A short time ago, Hank Stram asked head coach Wayne Fontes about that.
Wayne, Rodney Peete has had problems with his ankle. How did he practice this week, and will he start?
Well, Henry, he's been hurt all week long. He took about 5 snaps yesterday, and we are right before a game. I won't know until I go in the locker room and talk to Rodney after the workout.
Okay, and your record is 1-3. You've lost a couple of games, one to the Bears in the last play of the game. Last week you lost in a play that you had a chance. You couldn't get out of bounds to stop the clock, and so as a result, you're very close to being 0-4, aren't you?
We really are, Henry. We're a football team right now, and we're not struggling, but things are happening bad for us right now. Last year, we won those close ones. The thing we have to do is put that behind us, refocus ourselves, and win those football games. Come out in the fourth quarter and win the game.
One of the newspaper guys in town asked about your popularity, said something about your popularity in town. What is it?
Oh, yeah. I'm big in this town. The people love me here, and I love this town. But, you know, we keep losing. I'm getting smaller and smaller, Hank. I was 6'7" when I started. Right now, I'm 5'11".
Okay. Good luck, Wayne. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
It could get worse. You'd get a lot shorter. A couple of weeks ago, you told us how to stop Barry Sanders. How do you jumpstart him again? He's had some bad weeks lately.
Well, he's been stopped behind the line of scrimmage 14 times. That doesn't happen to a great back. But I think what you'll see today, in talking to Wayne Fontes earlier this week, Greg, they're going to take their tight end, take him away from the tackle, and flex him out in the slot. When they do that, a linebacker will have to go out and cover him. If he doesn't, Pete pops him with the ball. By doing that, they reduce one guy that can block Sanders and create a running lane. They're trying to create running lanes for Sanders. The problem is the 2 guards for the Lions have not been doing a good job, and the Lions love to run Sanders at least 15 times on draws. And teams are taking their tackles and just blowing them off the ball, driving those guards back, and there are 0 lanes for Sanders to run in. All
right, there is a battle of AFC's only unbeatens brewing up in Buffalo, where the Bills host the Dolphins today. Jim Kelly has already clicked on a league-leading 10 touchdown passes. Jim Gray is on the field at Rich Stadium with more.
Here in Buffalo, Miami will be trying to put an end to the Bills' 17-game winning streak here at Rich Stadium. Now, the Bills have won 4 straight games against Miami, but the big story for the Dolphins is the addition of Keith Jackson. Now, a little bit earlier this morning, I talked to quarterback Dan Marino, and he told me Jackson is a guy he really wanted and is a guy who he feels can really open up their offense. Now, a short time ago, I spoke with Keith Jackson, and he told me he's not concerned about having missed the Dolphins' first 3 games.
I've been in this situation before. I 2 years ago held out, came in on the 3rd game, and had a big game against the Rams. This is something that you've been involved with. Playing football is like riding a bicycle. If you've been doing it for so long, I've been playing the game since I was 9. So now it's just go out there and play what you've been taught all your life.
He's picked up things amazingly well. He's a very, very bright individual and seems to be instinctive. But we gave him a lot. We threw a lot at him, and he's been able to handle it. Now, the physical part we're not quite sure about because he hasn't been in training camp. He hasn't played in any preseason ball games. He's been able to handle everything physically in a practice session. We're going to try to work him into it gradually, put him out there some today, and then if he can handle it and he looks good and he can take the hit, then he'll play more and more.
Now, the Dolphins will also have the services of wide receiver Mark Clayton for the first time this season, and Bobby Humphrey, who missed the team playing yesterday, is here in Buffalo and will play, and he will be fine. That's the story from Buffalo.
All right, thanks, Jim. Now, later today in one of our doubleheader games, some of you will see the 1-2 Giants play the 0-4 Raiders, who are off to their worst start since 1964. That's when Al Davis coached the team. Davis, of course, is now the owner, and he's made some changes, demoting Terry Robisky from play caller to tight ends coach. Tom Walsh will now call the plays from upstairs. For some of the Raider players, it's already been a long season.
Feels like I've played 8 games because you not only played the game that you played, but now you start trying to figure out why you lost. So you're playing the game over again. So you spend more time or more negative time instead of just trying to focus on the positive things in life.
I think, here to loosen things up a little bit for the guys, because there's no point in stressing out because there's 12 more weeks, and it's not over.
Hopefully we can look back and say, you know, we just had a lousy start and had a great finish.
All 3 of those guys are key members of the Raiders. Problem is 2 of them are past their prime, and that's not the only problem the Raiders have.
No, you know, you look at an 0-4 start. You got a young quarterback in his second year, Marinovich. And, Greg, you go back. This is a repeating statement, but you go back now and you play Raider football like I used to know it. Like when they had Van Egan and Hubbard. You go in there with Nick Bell and you pound away, and you pound and you drive that football with that big fullback Bell, 240 pounds, and you take the pressure off this young kid, you rest your defense, and then you throw smart passes. You know, I just don't think you can take a young kid, especially when you're 0-4, and ask him to win a football game, throwing the football 40 or 50 times a game.
Yeah, finesse football is not Raider football.
No, it isn't.
Meanwhile, on the visiting sidelines at the Coliseum, the Giants will be without an injured Leonard Marshall. He's out after arthroscopic knee surgery. Mike Fox will start as defensive lineman in his place. Eric Howard will start at nose tackle. Speaking of injuries, not all of them are what they appear to be, and now the commissioner is cracking down on an illegal practice known as stashing, in which a team might exaggerate or fake an injury in order to stash a player on injured reserve. The NFL Today has learned that top football executives from at least 4 clubs were summoned to New York this week, along with their players whose injuries had already been questioned by a league-appointed neutral physician. Chuck Schmidt, vice president of the Lions, appeared along with quarterback Chuck Long, and they were quizzed about Long's shoulder injury. Bobby Beathard, general manager of the Chargers, was asked about a knee injury to rookie defensive lineman Kevin Little. The Redskins had to account for an injury to rookie quarterback Chris Hakel, and a Browns player injury is also under investigation. The commissioner is expected to announce his findings within the next 2 weeks, and at his discretion, he can take away draft choices up to and including a second-round pick. A short time ago, Mike Emmerich spoke with Chuck Schmidt about the stashing controversy.
The penalty's pretty severe. You could lose a draft choice out of that. How would you feel if the penalty was actually enforced?
Well, I don't think we have any concern about that because it's a legitimate injury, and we're not too concerned about it. But the commissioner has tried to put some muscle into it to keep people from stashing players.
Do you think a lot of so-called stashing goes on around the National Football League?
Well, if you examine some of the rosters and some of the things that go on, there certainly is a presumption from a distance that some of those things are happening, but I think it's probably blown out of proportion. You know, I don't think there's as much as everybody thinks there is.
Coming up, we'll head back down on the field for a look at Green Bay's new quarterback hero, and Be Still My Achy Breaky Heart, the latest installation of Terry Vision on the double threat of Steve Young. That and much more when we continue live from New York on the NFL Today.
Where did you learn that?
The NFL Today is sponsored by Pizza Hut, home of the half-price pizza policy, and by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of the 1992 Lincolns and Mercuries.
Why get an inferior shave when you could have the best? Why choose ordinary lubrication when you could have the richest? Why settle for average protection against razor irritation when you could have the most advanced, giving you the closest shave with less irritation? Edge Gel. Ultimate closeness. Ultimate comfort. That's the edge.
Pizza Hut announces one pizza regular price, any other of equal or lesser value half price. A new menu policy that may change the way we buy everything.
One aircraft carrier regular price, any other aircraft carrier of equal or lesser value half price.
Any other molar extraction of equal or lesser value half price.
Pizza Hut, where your second pizza is always half price. It's catching on.
The first World Trade Tower, regular price. We'll throw in a second World...
Call now and have our half price deal delivered, and you won't miss a play. Pizza Hut.
The temperature never drops below Xerex. That's very important to remember, especially at a time like this, when it's very deserted and very cold. Ah, you did remember Xerex Antifreeze. The temperature never drops below Xerex.
When your sinuses are closing in on you, what you need is a sinus spray like Sinex. Only Sinex adds Vicks vapors to its decongestant, so at last you can feel your sinuses open up. For sinus, think Sinex.
Our main objective when we designed our new front-wheel drive minivan was to make certain that it was the only vehicle in its class, period. Introducing Mercury Villager, the minivan that drives like a car. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
Neon Dion signing an autograph for Green Bay's Sterling Sharp. He's ready to go for the Falcons against Green Bay today. Tuesday night, he'll be back where he wants to be, in prime time, wearing a baseball uniform when his Atlanta Braves host the Pittsburgh Pirates in the National League Championship Series opener. But right now, we want to welcome our newest colleague at CBS Sports, former L.A. Rams head coach John Robinson, who is in Atlanta for the Packers and the Falcons. He has more on that game.
Week 5 is early to talk about a must-win for any team, but for the 1-3 Falcons, this is a must-win. They have to go back out on the road next week, first to Miami and then San Francisco, and they also lose Deion Sanders. So they desperately need a win here today. Michael Haynes does return to the wide receiver position on the right. Andre Rison goes to the wide receiver position on the left. So the red gun is at full force today. Green Bay comes in with new and exciting faces. Keith Millard, who was just signed this week, is going to have a major impact in today's game as a pass rusher. And the big news from Green Bay is this sensational young quarterback, Brett Favre. He is really off to a great start, and he is going to have a major impact for Green Bay. You know, this kid is really something. He reminds me kind of a young Terry Bradshaw. He's big, he's physical, he's cocky, got a great Southern accent. He's got a cannon for a right arm. The only difference, this kid's got hair. Whoops, I spoke too soon. That's the story from Atlanta.
All right, John, thank you. Yeah, they don't know how much trouble they're in for up in Green Bay. You and I both had occasion to talk to Brett Favre this week. It is hard to imagine a young quarterback with more self-confidence than he has. He's been a winner everywhere he's gone.
Yeah, and when I talked to him last night, Greg, the one thing going into this football game, he's got a new center in Frank Winters, his center Camden. He's out of there with an injury. That's going to hurt him. And the one key today, he said, Terry, we cannot get into a scoring match with the Atlanta Falcons. He said that'll take us out of our rhythm. And the other thing is, Mike Holmgren, his head coach, said, look, Brett, if this blitz thing gets you confused, just go out there, go into 2 tight ends or max protection, and do whatever you want to do to help yourself. So he's got control of the offense, but today against a blitzing team, really a tough job for him.
All right, Terry, coming up in another of our doubleheader games, the 2-2 Rams challenge the 3-1 49ers in a big NFC West contest, and Steve Young has been the real key for the 49er offense so far this year. He's a double threat.
Well, he is a double threat, Greg, but I want to show you. I talked to Mike Holmgren, Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator of the 49ers, asked him, hey, how does Steve get this yard at 8.5 yards rush? How does he do this? And he said, one of the keys is, Terry, we come out and we have Steve look and decide, was it man coverage or is it zone coverage? There, Todd, there. Now watch if it's man coverage, when he drops back, if he gets pressure, now when he scrambles to pass the football or run with it, man coverage, look at this. Tight here, tight here, tight. Look at everybody man-to-man. Therefore, that tells Young, no one will be covering me when I scramble. Look at that. No one's covering him. Got a little guy here. So now when he gets to the line of scrimmage versus man coverage, he decides to run. The opposite of that is if all of these gentlemen had dropped back, then that's zone coverage, Greg. And when he gets to the line of scrimmage, instead of running with the football versus zone, he simply throws it. And one of the reasons you throw it on the zone is guys sit there and look at you, and they deck you.
Randall Cunningham the same way.
The only 2 quarterbacks in the league where they change defenses inside the 20-yard line is against Steve Young and Randall Cunningham.
Okay, get your corn cob pipe out. Where's Leslie Visser? She's gone fishing with Minnesota's rookie head coach, Dennis Green.
Pizza Hut announces 1 pizza regular price, any other of equal or lesser value half price. A new menu policy that may change the way we buy everything.
1 aircraft carrier regular price. Any other aircraft carrier of equal or lesser value, half price.
Any other molar extraction of equal or lesser value, half price.
Pizza Hut, where your second pizza is always half price. It's catching on.
The first World Trade Tower, regular price. We'll throw in a second World...
Call now and have our half-price deal delivered, and you won't miss a play. Pizza Hut.
It's the bottom of the ninth, 1 out, a runner on third. You're down by 1, so you strategize. The signal goes in, and the suicide squeeze is on. Your runner takes an easy lead off third because he doesn't want to tip the pitcher that the batter's going to bunt, which he does, and your guy knows it's good, and he's screaming down the chalk. The pitcher's only play is first, and you eat the sacrifice for an RBI and a brand-new game. That's the suicide squeeze, and that's baseball.
My car, it needs a brake job. Just my luck. My dealer makes appointments, so I'm stuck.
You've got to take your car to Midas when your brakes go bad. Now is just the perfect time, so stop feeling sad.
Get great brake values at Midas today. Take the heat out of shaving. Soothe your razor burn with post-shave conditioning hydrogel from Old Spice. Because when you've got proof, who needs promises?
Bill Clinton says he'll only tax the rich to pay for his campaign promises. But here's what Clinton economics could mean to you. $1,088 more in taxes. $2,072 more in taxes. 100 leading economists say his plan means higher taxes and bigger deficits. $1,191 more in taxes. $2,072 more in taxes. You can't trust Clinton economics. It's wrong for you. It's wrong for America.
Number 9 in a Detroit Lions uniform is Rodney Peete, and late word from the Silverdome is that he will start at quarterback today despite that sprained ankle. Rodney Peete gets the start against the New Orleans Saints. Now let's head back down on the field under the Metrodome where the Vikings host the Bears and where Leslie Visser joins us live with a look at the man behind Minnesota's 3-1 start. Where else would you expect the leader of the Vikings to be but out on a boat? Hello, Leslie.
Hello, Greg. You know, Dennis Green is a legitimate fisherman. My goal for the day was not to get the hook caught in the back of my head. Well, folks around here are pretty excited about Dennis Green, and he's an interesting guy. He rose from the inner city of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, one step from the project to become an NFL head coach. He was a campus radical in the 60s, and he's also a guy who knows how to have a little fun, be an outdoorsman. In fact, he told me he is the baddest bass fisherman in all of Lake Minnetonka.
If we win, I fish early Monday morning before going to work. Fish and then go to work about 8 o'clock. If we don't win, I don't fish. I go to work at 6:30.
He's been fishing more than anyone expected. Off to a 3-1 start, tied for first in the NFC Central. The Vikings have a hunger not seen around these parts in years.
Tell me about the Minnesota Vikings. Did they need a kick in the butt?
Oh, I don't think so. What we've just tried to do is put together an organization, a football team that plays hard, that works hard. You kind of get what you earn. I've never wanted anything that I haven't earned, and so I don't want to be babied. I don't want my players to be babied. I'm not spoiled. I want my players to be spoiled. What I like people to understand is I'm a product of the 60s. I really am. I mean, I think that, and I love that idea.
In the promise of the 1960s, young black men thought they could transcend the differences of race. Dennis Green led campus protests while playing at Iowa. He became the first black head coach in the history of the Big Ten when he rebuilt a woeful program at Northwestern.
One way you get to the top of the mountain, you've got to be in the bottom of the valley. We've been there. We're not going back anymore.
Following Art Shell of the Raiders, Green became only the second black head coach in the NFL, a distinction he and so many others wish weren't so significant.
I don't think it's only the National Football League. I think that's just the state of America, the way they look at things. You know, he's a good football coach. It just happens that he's African American.
As my grandmother said, when you knock on opportunity's door, make sure all your bags are packed right then. And she said, you can't say, wait a minute, I'll be right back. I didn't think you were going to open the door for me, and I'm really not ready.
His team is ready, better prepared, and more aggressive than people imagined, and playing with a swagger.
I don't think it's a good idea to try to be a playoff team by going the way of the wild card. We want to win the division. Miss Lynn, what time we get? You got one, girl. It's a fish. Take your time.
Right.
It's a.
Oh God!
It's a muskie.
It's a whale.
It's a muskie. You're doing northern rather.
Oh God! Well, what do I do? I have no idea what I'm doing.
You're in great shape. You're doing good. Just reel it.
No, he went away.
No, he didn't. He's still on there. That's why he's right there. Back over to the left.
Is that the biggest fish you ever saw?
Nope.
Men, why do they have to be so competitive? Well, 1/4 of the way through the season in a tough division, Green has all his hands on deck.
Players, they love it when I yell and I say, all right, guys, everybody's on board. We're ready to sail. And what that means is nobody is on this boat who shouldn't be here. We should have confidence in every single guy here. That's been our approach.
Dennis Green has taken one unexpected approach. As many of you know, there are 3 Bill Walsh disciples in the NFC Central: Mike Holmgren, Sam Weiss, and Dennis Green. So Dennis Green figured that instead of implementing the 49er offense, which would be easier for Tampa Bay and Green Bay to prepare for twice a year, he turned to the Redskins and hired assistant Jack Burns to run his offense here in Minnesota. Greg, so far it's worked.
All right, Leslie, told you you'd do better once you put some bait on the end of that hook, by the way. In another of our late games, Washington visits Phoenix. The Super Bowl champion Redskins are out for their 8th straight win over the Cardinals. Washington wide receiver Art Monk is now 10 catches away from passing Steve Largent as the NFL's all-time receiver. And although it seems inevitable, Monk can't wait to get it over with.
I'm very excited about the opportunity to break a record like this. And no way in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd ever be in this position, but I'd like to get over as soon as possible. If it means this week, that would be great. If it means next week, fine. You know, whenever it happens, I don't want it, I don't want it to be staged, or, I don't want them to just throw me the ball just to break the record or whatever. I want it to be a natural thing. And, but as soon as possible would be nice.
Next up, Pat O'Brien checks in and takes us around the NFL today.
With its V6 engine, smooth, quiet ride, and easy front-wheel drive handling, the newest Mercury will, quite frankly, remind you of some cars you've driven before. That's what makes it so different. Introducing Mercury Villager. The minivan that drives like a car. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
At BASF, we don't make the meal, we make it healthier. We don't make the lotion, we make it smoother. We don't make the dress, we make it brighter. We don't make the carpet, we make it tougher. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy, we make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF.
How much insulation do you have in your attic? 3 inches? 6 inches? Well, the Department of Energy recommends R38 for most American homes, which is equivalent to a foot of Owens Corning pink fiberglass. So grab a ruler and measure your attic insulation. Then get rolling. And get a foothold on your energy bills. For more information, call 1-800-GET-PINK.
Over yonder is our resident tour guide, Pat O'Brien.
Oh, Greg, thank you very much. Terry, how you guys doing? The big news this week has really nothing to do with football. Madonna's new video has once again given family values another name, and Irvin Johnson has given that Friday paycheck a new meaning. Unfortunately, our efforts to reach the material girl have failed, but as usual, today's edition of our Little Sunday Supplement will provide some magic moments around the NFL today. This magic will now have more to do than just hang around on the sidelines, and that magic will hang around the sidelines. That's because a young upstart named Brett Favre has kind of brought the pack back. Favre has become a favorite of our NFL Journal because, like us, he's a small-town kid. Kiel, Mississippi, southern exposure.
From the little city of Kiel, Mississippi, it's really quite a thing.
When Brett left, there were 49 good citizens in Kiel, all Packer fans.
Well, ever since he was knee-high to a duck, he had a football suit on.
Favre's only adjustment was to go from the Kiel to the freezer.
Everybody around here said, hey, he better get him some long-handle underwear.
Real Packers don't wear long undies. They become stars. We promised we'd stay out of politics, and we will, but watch closely as tight end Ron Hall, over there on the right, becomes a fall guy. And as Coach White watches wishfully, the play works.
That's one of those trick plays Sam has in his book, which he has a pretty thick book of.
Better watch out, because you never know if Sam will play it again.
Well, maybe I do have a career after football. Acting. There you go.
From acting to dancing, remember how touching it was when teams danced together? Now it seems they've all gone solo. We'll give that one a 10. That one maybe a 9.5. And now there's a new entry, and how legit is he?
He does that
herky-jerky, move his whole body around. I can't do all that. I can't do all that.
After we won the playoff game against New Orleans, that Hammer had to step aside and let me do my dancing. Does that tell you anything?
Tells us we can't touch that, and we're not trying either. Well, it's deja vu all over again. Remember when Garo Yepremian made headlines, but the wrong kind. You'd think every kicker would hear Garo's words echoing in his head.
Matt, look downfield, close your eyes, throw the ball, and hope you hit somebody from your own team. Don't do what I did, throwing it backwards.
But no, Matt Stover had to be a hero, had to learn it the hard way. Well, he won't make this mistake again, and you kids at home, don't try it either.
Next time I'll eat the ball. I don't think I'll throw it.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Matt. Time heals all wounds.
I've improved my passing. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I threw one 3 yards forward.
The good news is that Matt's passing has really improved this week. The bad news is, well, nice hands, huh?
Nice hands.
You know, the great thing about this business, seriously, is that we get to meet new people. And Brett Favre, he's our kind of guy.
He is a nice kid.
Nice kid.
Nice kid. Got his mama and his daddy down to watch a game. Got his grandmama. She's coming in. She's 74, looking for somebody. She can't find anybody to dance with him. So she's looking. Got his friends. His high school buddies are there.
Jimmy Carr's available. You saw him doing his achy breaky.
We'll be back.
When you are making a list of the greatest achievements of this century, please consider Subway's 79-cent round sandwiches. We have taken the great taste of Subway, including our fresh-baked bread, and made it round. So it's highly portable and highly affordable with a low, low, low price of 79 cents. While this great achievement may not change your life as much as the clapper, our round sandwiches certainly do taste better, and you can get one for only 79 cents.
Introducing the round sandwiches for as low as 79 cents only at Subway.
Based on the true story of Carolyn Wormus. He never thought she'd kill his wife. If you think you've seen it, you haven't seen it all. The Danger of Love, tonight.
It's the time of year when the sun won't set on Sicily.
Just glorious light 24 hours a day.
In the land of the midnight sun, everyone is acting half-baked.
It makes me feel aroused.
Yeah! I love this place!
Did you get hit in the head or something? Huh?
Would you like to have sex with me?
No.
Emmy-winning Northern Exposure, Monday.
1 o'clock kickoffs in Minnesota. The Bears take on the Vikings. Bears going to return to that running game?
Bears got Brad Muster with 94 yards now. Both teams that play the Bears have to be concerned about 2 running backs, not just one.
New Orleans 2-2 is at Detroit 1-3, and Atlanta, trying to break a 3-game losing streak, will host Green Bay. And all of that and much more coming your way. Remember, it's a doubleheader day. Terry and I will be back at halftime and throughout the afternoon, but it's game time. We'll see you.